Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunburned Plays. Episode 81. Just don't say the name of the game at all. It doesn't matter. Ace Attorney Trilogy PS4. Episode 81. We're still in the middle of this trial. We just brought in, what's his name in here? Luke Atmey. Gonna, expose him as a murderer. And then maybe this is the last episode of this trial, but possibly not. Anyway, we're in the middle of Godot saying, can never reach their dreams, but not like that. What's going on? That's very true. No way! Don't fall for that, Your Honor! Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes? If there's no funny business in your actions as Mask Damask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn. Alrighty then. I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box, and Zavari, it was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. Dude, is my cat serious right now? He's like actually trying to break the door down. I then handled security by myself. Come on, come here. Freak out. I guarantee you'll want out in like 5 minutes. Don't attack my feet. You have no respect, cat. I swear to God. I'm holding you in my arms and you will not break free. You feel me? Alright. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. Hello. You staring at me because I'm making a weird voice? You're like, who the hell is this dude? Like, what happened to him? Has he gone off the deep end? That's pretty much all stuff we've heard before, isn't it? Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time? Zavari. Very well then. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, Sacred Urn Heist. Alright, I first received a request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. It's true, but we'll press anyway. You were asked to guard the urn by Miss Adrian Andrews, is that right? Indeed. It seemed that they had heard of my Zavaricling reputation. I see Miss Andrews is still attracting the weirdos. You'd better watch out too, Maya. The urn was placed in a box, and it was then sent to the warehouse. You mean this box? Yes, that pathetic box. That's so rude to Maya. Oh, damn. Lady Andrews was especially taken with that urn, and she wouldn't let anyone enter the storeroom, not even me. Huh. Interesting new tidbit. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. So you're sure that you had never seen the urn before? Indeed. You may ask Lady Andrews to confirm for yourself. My security was focused entirely on the entrance to that warehouse. However, I, Luke Atmey, let no information whatsoever slip through my fingers. It was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. That's where you're wrong, sir, so can we contradict this without even, like, pressing it or anything? The monetary value of this urn is 0, sir. But that doesn't show it anymore. So it's like, are we not caring about that anymore? I don't think this is gonna work. Alright then. Well, it's like they replaced the description where it says it has no value with the fact that it was like put together and all that, so. You mean this calling card? That's right. That is, without a doubt, my calling card. I guess Mr. Delight didn't make this after all. Of course, because Atmey knew about the emblem. Making this card authentic would have been child's play for him. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. Then no one entered the basement warehouse? Unfortunately, there were many different treasures being taken there. Thus, for a period of approximately 5 days, people were indeed going in and out of the warehouse. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. Well, that's the false bit, isn't it? And this is the photo that proves that, huh? Indeed. To be honest, even if a photo was taken, I didn't think it would matter terribly much. Hey, Nick, if this photo is a fake, Detective Atmey might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying that he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove that he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a bow on it. I need to take a good hard look at the court record while my cat is just biting my clothes on my body. What is your actual deal? You are a freak of nature. Come here. You're going outside. You're going outside the room right now. That's right. Lament your chosen fate. Come on. He's literally rubbing up against the door still like, no, don't kick me out. I just want to scratch your entire skin off until there's nothing left. Not a lot to go on, is there? That detective's been covering his tracks. There's only... Dude, listen to him. Do you hear that? There's only one thing we need to prove in this cross-examination. That he took this photo well before the actual night of the crime. Alright then, how do we do that? Well, there's one thing that Atmey stated very clearly, that he had never seen the urn before he stole it. We need to prove that he's lying. Okay, so this is the false statement then? Let's see here. Unable to see the urn for myself until the day after the crime. Pink stains. Paint marks. Kept out of sight, like it does say that, so... Oh, that's false, because, like, you could have seen the exhibit poster. What? What are you talking about? Okay, so this is obviously false, but I don't know why it's false. I know that... I don't know how we prove that he doesn't. I mean, the warehouse camera went off once around 1 a.m. on the night of the crime. Amy Faye's golden statue was moved, carried into the basement the day of the crime, and then moved again that night. I thought we already established that this photo was fake. Because I, like, pointed at stuff already. Maybe it's been too long. No? Okay. Well, don't worry about it, because I obviously know the answer now. October 12th. Blackmail later. October 12th at 1 a.m. No? I mean, Rhonda Light testified that he also wore the damask outfit. So, well, they just made different versions of the same thing, so there would have been 2 brooches then. It's not like they shared one. We don't use Rhonda Light's testimony there? Alright. We're just gonna pretend it never happened then. All these things like... Oh, damn it, I pressed right by accident. That he took this photo well before the actual night. Yeah. That's what we have to prove. And the way you prove that is with the urn. But that's not how you do it. Oh, why is this so hard? I don't understand. The box has pink paint stains on it. Dude, how is that not it? In the photo, the box does not have pink paint stains. It only has pink paint stains afterwards. Dude, I don't understand. Is it the paint marks? Nope, it's not the paint marks either. The witness's statement is clearly faulty. How many times I gotta say it, Your Honor? Well, I don't believe you. Well, you can shut up then. You're a bad judge. The worst kind of judge. Handled security by myself to ensure that the crime would go smoothly. But you didn't. Lordly Taylor had their whole camera stuff going on. It's... Oh my god. Dude, it's not a valuable treasure. Dude, it's not a valuable treasure, though. It's not valuable. Dude, did you guys know that it's not a valuable treasure? Unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. But that's... Dude, I don't understand why this doesn't work. The freaking poster, look at it, it's right there. See the urn for yourself. See it right there, sir. It's right there in your... I already pressed everything. Urn was placed in the box and then sent to the warehouse, yes. You know, we're just gonna press everything again. Because that's usually how they've been doing it. But wait, you testified. This calling card? Yeah, that's the calling card. Because he knew about the emblem, yeah. Alright, then you handled security by yourself, okay. No one entered the basement warehouse, nope. There are many treasures, so approximately 5 days people were going in there. Actually. And then you held the urn in your hands for that. And it's the photo. Nick, if this photo's fake, Detective Atmey might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying that he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove that he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a boo on it. Then this is the statement that we use the security photo on? What? But you just said to do that. Well, you know, the issue with that is, you know, there's a problem with your testimony, okay? And that problem is, dude, I'll tell you what, okay? I'll tell you the problem. You wanna know the problem? Dude, I'll give you the problem. Look. The urn proves that you saw the urn. Look at it. It's all urny. What are you trying to pull right here? What is the title of this episode? Right. The Stolen Turnabout. Yes, please. Let's revisit this page I've already been. 'Cause I don't understand. Alright. Don't worry, I'm sure when I see it, it's gonna be perfect. Dude, don't show me ads of babies, okay? That's disgusting. Okie dokie. On statement 2, 3, 4, or 6, present the calling card? What? Mr. Atmey, if you really are Mask to Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course. Is there a problem with that calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Mask to Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now, the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn. I'm sorry. You can check this? I never checked this! Surely refers to the pink pattern on the sacred urn. Yes, that is true. But so what? Truth be told, there is no way that Mask to Mask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains. Paint stains? And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor. I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trite. The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say an error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn. Ugh, you can't be serious. And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atmey had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Gwag, 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 gwag. Gwag, 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 gwag. Alright, let's click out of that window. I ain't trying to just cheat my way through the rest of the trial, you know what I'm saying? Even though I am, like, pretty lost on most of this, for some reason. Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself? Yeah. Alright, that did it. He's broken. Nick? I think it's still a little early for a victory pose. Huh? Ha! It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Mask to Mask, and now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point. No way! Don't fall for that too, Your Honor! You say that Luke Atmey was the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that? An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you my merry murderous motive manifest? Nick, he's getting his second wind. If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron Delight, as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that right, Detective? Indeed. According to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us as to what the defendant's motives were. I'd be honored to, Sir Oldtimer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. I, Luke Atmey, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask to Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Mask to Mask. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant. This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter. What? It was written by Bullard. Wow. Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination. Damn, if he actually wrote the letter, then we're gonna have a harder time. And who in the world is going to prove that? I will. After doing a thorough background check of Detective Atmey and Kane Bullard, we were unable to find any links between them. It's all in the report. Perhaps they were connected through their work? They were both involved in security. Nope. That was blunt. In any case, the only one with a motive was Mr. Delight. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask to Mask and simply mistook who he was. Mistook? That's right, mistook. From the Old Norse mistaka, meaning to take in error. That wasn't what I meant. Just who did the victim mistake Mask to Mask to be? Why, the answer is obvious. Ron Delight, of course. Boy, I'd like to wipe that smug look off this guy's face. Why would the victim mistake the defendant for Mask to Mask? Don't you already know that? Zavari, take a look at this newspaper. Oh ho, that's the famous Tear of Emanon, a magnificent jewel. That photo shows a magnificent detective as well, does it not? Furthermore, it also shows an ugly guard, namely the defendant. The defendant? The victim clearly misread this article in Zavari. He got the wrong impression. The impression that this ugly security guard was in fact Mask to Mask. I see. That was an unusually reasonable deduction. Mr. Bullard wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. You mean this blackmail letter right here? It says, bring $50,000. And the handwriting is without a doubt the victim's. There's no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere. An addressee? This letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder... What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? Whoa, do you have any evidence of that? For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? Then perhaps could we skip the rest of this and just do some of this action? Oh yeah! Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atmey? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright. When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction? I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. You're one to talk. At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. Take that red diamond. So then would we use the newspaper clipping? Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the tear of Emanon, the stolen jewel. What about it? The problem is this jewel's color. Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. Red? Which means... Ooh, the red diamond like the one that's in that dude's ring! Ooh, look at me's ring has a red diamond in it! Whoop, whoop, whoop. The red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the tear of Emanon that Master Mask stole at all. And your point is, Mr. Trite? So you were trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else. That is what you're trying to say, right, Trite? That is what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright? Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick? Yes. This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing. Bam. Naturally, it was you, Detective Atmey. Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? You have been personally involved in every single mask-to-mask case, and in the last case you recovered what was stolen, and received a jewel as your reward. A jewel? Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring! Good. That is the diamond referred to in the letter, which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you! Ah! Oh, he wrote that letter in order to blackmail him? Oh, I did not see that coming. Oh, blackmail him? Oh, blackmail him? Oh, completely different. It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Trite. Uh-oh, I don't like the way you said that. Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke Atmey? Are you for real? Yes, I am. Nick, come on, stand up to him. Then answer me this! The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world. Yes, it certainly does. Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atmey's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity? Atmey killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret? This is what it all comes down to, Nick. The identity that Luke Atmey wanted to so desperately keep secret was his identity as... a blackmailer. Luke Atmey was a blackmailer. Objection! Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying, huh? You said that Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Atmey. Are you saying that Atmey was blackmailing someone else on top of that? You have to admit, that does sound a little odd. It's not odd. It's the only thing that makes any sense. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atmey. But Ron Delight was also being blackmailed by a certain someone. So, did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Tear of Emanon heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person, incredibly detailed plans. Detailed plans? In which case that would mean that Ron Delight was actually Mask to Mask. That is what we are claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Luke Atmey. Shh! Silence! Now I see. It's all becoming clear. What is? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless, with the tendency to jump to conclusions. Am I wrong? How did you... You say that I, Luke Atmey, was blackmailing Ron Delight. In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Mask to Mask. Well, yes. Ron Delight started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed the first crime. Good point. You certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise. In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Luke Atmey know that Ron Delight was Mask to Mask? Because of this newspaper clipping again. I think I see it. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief trying to be the center of attention. What do you mean? This newspaper clipping. It has a picture of you and Ron Delight in his guard uniform. It seems that Mask to Mask didn't just disappear into thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid it in a bucket. That sounds far too stupid to be true. Correct. With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Atmey. That's when you learned that under his mask, Mask to Mask was really Ron Delight. What the... Wasn't he supposed to be Mask to Mask?
Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective.
Oh, I can't believe it! He was just a slimy blackmailer! What a fraud! Trying to pass himself off as an ace detective! Why, you... How dare you expose me like that? Why, I've never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace detective, and also Mask to Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you are neither a proud thief nor an ace detective. You're a blackmailer and a murderer. That is your true identity. Why, you... How dare you even dare imply that one so smart and capable of I could ever fall to such lowly steps? Yourselves with those big mouths of yours, you fools! I say, none of you can compare to my genius. You're all just jealous. So go and discredit me. Commemorate me. This feels great. Ace detective cannot handle blackmail murder threats. It's enough to make one laugh. It would seem we finally arrived at the real answer. That was quite a performance by Mr. Atmey. Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atmey. The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim. What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling. Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge. You don't get much more in your face than that. It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite. What do you... It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Atmey was a filthy blackmailer, and that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder. That's right! That's why he's the one who killed Mr. But... There's still one thing you have yet to prove. What's that? Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB Security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. No way! Order in the court. Well, Mr. Wright, this is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Atmey was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night. But can you really prove that? That's long enough, Mr. Trite. I want to hear your answer. Ooh, it's time to save the game then. Dude, I just want to play Fire Emblem Three Houses right now. Can it come out? Can it be July 27th already? Is it the 27th or 26th, something around there? That night, Luke Atmey was at KB Security, and the defense... Can we prove it? The blackmail letter was addressed to him. The defense can prove it, with evidence. Are you sure? Ha! Don't you worry, I'll watch over you, as you break down and fall to pieces. Very well then, let's see this proof. Proof that Luke Atmey was at KB Security that night. This is the proof. It's true, that is very important. However, I'm not so foolish as to think that will pass for evidence here. Excuse me? The fingerprints. How did he get in the CEO's office? Because the card... Rondelai used the card. It was used the night of the crime at 1 a.m. Although it doesn't say that Ron is the one who used it, although he said he used it. We can't prove it. I can't prove it. Just as I thought. But, if we hear more of Detective Atmey's testimony... Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite. What do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony. That's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten? Luke Atmey is here after we interrupted his own trial, and you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial, and face his guilty verdict as mask to mask. No! Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as mask to mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Order! Order in the court! That's enough deliberation over this witness. I can't believe this. At this rate, Ron is...
Don't give up now, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence and...
By then, it'll be too late.
Huh? Why?
Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law.
Double jeopardy?
Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. This is a fundamental rule of all courts, and it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else. Mr. Atmey will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as mask to mask, which means he will be innocent as far as the murder of Kane Bullard is concerned.
No way!
The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atmey's guilt of that crime here means that he will never again be tried as Kane Bullard's murderer.
What?
Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win, even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent. The real killer, Luke Atmey, will go free. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today, and as long as there is no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare that there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections? Of course there is. Then I hereby end the cross-examination of Luke Atmey. Who said that?
I think I see it. Your Honor, when you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result.
How did you...
Phoenix, raise your head up high. Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? I assume it's Mia. A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. That voice! No way! Long time no see, Phoenix. Mia! This is the true power of the Karain channeling technique. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now she's my mentor, Mia Fey. Now, let's do this. But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine. Not yet. The testimony's not over yet. What do you mean? Your Honor, just now you said something very interesting. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today.
Yes, that's true, but...
Unfortunately, Your Honor, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks. Well now, it seems the love wins out. I am the ace detective. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify as a true murder, I declare that with the full force of...
Yes, but these comments appear to have no importance whatsoever.
Very well. Then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witness has made these remarks, we, the defense, assert our right to question them. Is that all right with you, prosecutor?
Is something the matter, Mr. Godot?
Ah, nothing. Oh, Sir Lawyer, it looks like you're one step too late. If you think such falsehoods will do anything to me, look at... Let's hear it. Huh? It's true that the witness made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. Mr. Godot, what are you...
Very well then, Mr. Luke Atmey. I'm going to allow the defense to cross-examine your earlier remarks.
The defense would like to hear why you declared the defendant to be the true murderer.
So please give us one last bit of testimony.
Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance. Yes, Chief! Oh, and that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.